News with Gina.
The News with Gina Grad.
So we got some more piping hot tax gate, Brian. Who loves when we add gate to everything. New York Times reported that they obtained Donald Trump's tax information for more than 20 years. According to the Times, Trump only paid $750 in federal income tax in 2016, another $750 the following year. It says he paid no income tax at all in 10 of the previous 15 years, mostly because he claimed he lost much more money than he made. A lawyer for the Trump organization claimed most, if not all, the facts appear to be inaccurate. And then, of course, Trump's not going to let someone he's not going to chill and cool his heels while somebody else speaks for him. So he tweeted. He had a lot to tweet. I'll sum it up for you. He defended his tax history, saying that he paid millions of dollars to the IRS and argued he's entitled to tax credits like everyone else. He also said, if you look at the extraordinary assets owned by me, which the fake news hasn't, I'm extremely underleveraged. I have very little debt compared to the value of assets. Ended by saying it's a very impressive statement, his tax statement, and also shows that I'm the only president on record to give up my yearly $400,000 plus presidential salary.
Can we just implement some sort of flat system or something that we wouldn't have to get into this? It seems so endlessly complicated and insane. Everybody who can is going to take full advantage of paying the least into the system as humanly possible before going full Wesley Snipes. Can we just pick a flat tax? Every once in a while, somebody brings it up, some politician. It always sounds tempting to me. I think everyone would be down with paying a certain amount, but aren't we just asking people to cheat and corporations just to move offshore and everyone to kind of do the wrong thing? This notion that people are just going to pay their fair share because they should pay their fair share, that's completely out the window. People are going to pay as little as humanly possible. Or you're not running a corporation, or you're not doing your job, whether you're Trump or Nike. Why don't we just flatten it out and see if we can get rid of all the loopholes and deductions and everything?
Yeah, like you said before,
I don't think they're talking about this is his personal federal income tax. It's not his corporate income tax. This is what Trump himself made. And I think the argument is he's not who he said he is. He's not a billionaire.
Well, doesn't everyone know that? I mean, he lies about fucking everything.
There's about 43% of the population that really doesn't.
I think they know he's lying. I think they don't care. I think we're beyond lying.
Well, and according to the New York Times, he's venturing dangerously close into Real Housewives territory because they say he wrote off $70,000 worth of hairstyling.
Here's what I don't understand about that. Like we've all been on shows. Like, we all understand that, like, when you show up someplace, they've hired a hair person, or you can provide one and they'll pay for it. Like, the whole thing was like he paid $70,000 when he was on The Apprentice for hairstyling, but why was he going out of pocket at all when he doesn't go out of pocket for anything? That's what doesn't make sense to me.
I would say that Mariah Carey probably suffers from the same thing, which is you get your hair person and your hair person is way more than they have budgeted for hair because they have the hair, like they have two hair people and they get $200 a day and they do everyone. And like Mariah Carey and Trump have their own hair person and they get $500 a day or whatever it is, and they come with them. So that's probably the way the hair works as far as I know. I don't think your pedestrian hair person is going to work for them.
Also, have we done for rich man, poor man not paying into the system? Because is that not the ultimate?
Yes, I think that is the ultimate. So if you pay $750, does that mean you made $1,400 that year, or your company you
took a loss?
Yeah,
a big loss.
I don't.
He's been taking losses. That's what he said on his IRS forms. Every year he takes losses, hundreds of millions of dollars.
But doesn't everybody who makes? Doesn't everyone just say that not to pay taxes? Like, don't they attempt to? Not.
I mean, it's fraud. If you lie, it is fraud. If you tell the IRS one thing and it turns out not to be true, that's tax fraud.
Right, but
And when you're the president, that seems like a bad thing.
Yeah, I agree. Everyone I know is incorporated. They get incorporated, and then the corporation pays them, but then their expenses are always zeroed out by how much they got in income, so it ends up being a wash at the end of the year, so they didn't make any money because their expenses...
Well, that's exactly how I do it. That is exactly how I do it. But what happens is whatever's left over in the corporation at the end of the year, like you pay yourself in salary, and then you have to pay income tax on that salary that you take. That's your personal federal income tax that you're paying. He's saying that he didn't make any money personally, which is just kind of hard to believe, unless he's just so fucking broke.
Well, either he's so fucking broke or he's going to get audited, right? Or continue to be audited or something, right? I don't know. I think that audit is bullshit. I
read the entire article last night, and I don't understand a lot of the finer tax points, but I believe that the center of the audit is the $72.9 million tax credit he claimed and was given. That looks to be a little bit dubious. And the reason he showed these losses every year is because apparently I don't know if it's specifically real estate or if it's or big business in general. But if you take a big loss in one year, there's a law that allows you to amortize that over many years. And he did just that. He basically said, all right, well, I'm taking this $100 million loss and I'm making it a $10 million. There's a statute, like limitations, where you can only do it for so many years, but he took $10 million over 10 years or something like that.
Well, it'll never come up in the debate tonight as we hear this. That much we know.
Yeah, no, that's safe to assume.
All right.
Well, nobody's going to bring it up.
I like the flat tax, even though I can't describe it to anybody.
Or an agent's fee. Like every entertainer pays 10% to your agent, right? That's ideally what a flat tax would be, but of course it wouldn't work like that.
I guess
that's why it's never been implemented.
It'd be nice if it would.
Sure.
Well, just rounding out the political news stories, and not really, because it's really about The Rock. He's getting political. Dwayne Johnson really wants to get political this year for the first time. He admits that politics is something he usually plays close to the vest, but now he's feeling the urge to speak out about his opinion. Here he is from Sunday announcing his endorsement.
As a registered independent for years now with centrist ideologies, I do feel that Vice President Biden and Senator Harris are the best choice to lead our country, and I am endorsing them to become president and vice president of our United States.
He also had a conversation with them about voter turnout that he posted on Instagram, and he says...
Hey, can I say this?
Yeah.
I like The Rock, but when you get serious and you get political, you got to get a shirt that's got a little bit of leeway around the triceps and the delts and the whatever. You look like Hans and Franz. It's distracting. It's taking away from the message. I mean, I know he's The Rock.
President Camacho.
I know he's gone full Camacho.
I think he thinks it's adding to the message.
That sweater's so distractingly tight on him. I mean, that sweater's made for a teenage boy. I mean, look. Let's show it one more time. Let me see. That is like. I get his muscles are big, but they still make bigger sweaters, right?
That's Michael's son's sweater.
Right. And I'm just saying, I feel like this is the serious Rock who's given it some thought and he's worried about this nation and the direction we're moving. I don't want to see his nipples or measure the size of his areolas poking through this.
You see his arm vein. You see his bicep vein?
Pushing through the sweater. Yeah,
that's a tight sweater.
That's a snug sweater. I'm saying something with a little more flow and a little more give just for this message, and then you're selling tequila or having a cheat day or something. Get back to that.
No, I think you're absolutely right. He encourages discourse on his Instagram. He says, no matter what your opinion is, if it differs from mine, I'll always be okay with that. You can yell all you want. I won't block you. I won't yell back. So he's The Rock at his peak rockness. And we've discussed this on the show before, Michael. None of us would be shocked if at some point it's, Dwayne Johnson 2024.
Hasn't he said he was going to run at some point? Like he was going to do some political shit? Hasn't he?
I'm sure it's come up.
Well, I will tell you this. One person said that The Rock is going to run. We've got a little audiobook clip from my book. I'm your emotional support animal.
Okay. What I don't get enough credit for is that I actually called it 8 years before the election on my morning radio show. In March 2008, my news girl, Teresa Strasser, played a clip of the Donald telling people that in order to make money, they had to love what they do. After making fun of that idiotic cliche, I said the following.
He's going to be president in 8 years. You understand that, everybody? You understand Donald Trump is going to be president. He'll be president one day. It'll be in our lifetime.
Since I successfully prognosticated this presidency, let me put my turban on and gaze into the future at some other possible celebritants. Michael Strahan. He just never stops climbing. He's charming, can read a teleprompter, works his ass off, and checks the racial box. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Another ex-jock with a crazy work ethic. Perfect for our crazy troubled times. He's got a built-in campaign slogan, solid as the rock. It'll be great in the debate when he arches his eyebrow and says, "Can you smell what the Rock is cooking?" I'll tell you what the Rock's cooking. A 3% increase in gross domestic product, a 6% middle-class tax cut, and proportional increase to the child care credit. That son of a bitch could pay off half the national debt with what he's pulling in for just the Fast and Furious movies. Ooh, running mate, Jason Statham. I can see the bumper sticker already. Hobbs and Shaw, 2024. Let's make this happen, people. Well, let's hope so, because you wonder if a guy like Dwayne Johnson, for these guys, everything's a challenge. All of life is just challenge based. Like how many Kevin Hart movies can you make before you just go, fuck it, check that box? Like most of us are in some mode where like trying to get to some place that he was at 14 years ago or something. Like how long before you can just keep dominating the action genre of movies and go, fuck it, I want to make real change. Like, I want to be in a position where I'm actually, instead of, entertaining people, I'm actually making change.
Ask Schwarzenegger.
Schwarzenegger tried.
Ask Reagan.
That's true. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised at all. It's funny. I bet if Trump, like Zuckerberg is really rich, right?
Yes.
He's really rich.
It's a multi-billionaire, yes.
And he's a flip-flop cargo short kind of guy. You know what I mean? Trump is doing an impersonation of a rich guy.
Yes.
I bet if he was that rich, he would... Yeah, I always look at everything as kind of a psychological thing. Like, when you are really that rich, I would bet if you pick the 10 richest people on the planet, they're rounding it down in terms of how they dress, the crowd they move with. Like, Trump is doing like an 80s farcical caricature of a rich person.
Yeah, it's funny. John Mulaney has an old joke about that, saying that he's what a hobo's idea of a rich man is.
How can John Mulaney have an old joke? He's 23 and a half.
From a few years ago. And I want to fire people with my children.
Right. It's like but it's like the women who are female impersonators. Like, This is what a woman would look like if they were trying to be a beautiful woman. Whereas the truly beautiful women just sort of are. They're the ones wearing the jeans with no makeup, like you, Gina Grad.
Thank you.
There was an interview with him with Rona Barrett, if you remember her from years ago, where they were talking about his like financial problems in like the 80s. And she was like, what would you do if you ever went broke? And I think he said, I would run for president.
Wow. Rona Barrett.
That came out today.
Rona Barrett had bad hair, even by 80 standards.
I have to look her up now because I don't remember really what she looks like.
Oh, she was just one of those. She was kind of one of those women I remember when I was young thinking, am I really that attracted to women? I don't know. And she wasn't even ugly. She just was sort of unappealing in a very 80s way. She had like 80s hair and
she did have very 80s hair, but she's pretty. I'm looking at images of her from her heyday.
Oh my. Is that the 20s or the 80s?
She had a unique look.
Well, we're looking that up, Adam. I would normally never shit on your points, but when you dismissed my assertion that people there are still people who think, Trump's a successful businessman. You laughed and said, I think we all figured it out. According to a Politico poll, a majority, 54% of respondents, of voters, say they think Trump has been successful in business. 85% of Republicans say Trump has been successful, while only 10% of Republicans say that he has been unsuccessful. So some people need some convincing.
Well, I think maybe I don't know if we should draw a distinction between rich and successful. He seems successful. I don't know if you can be successful without being rich, but
no, not as a business, like real estate developer, I wouldn't imagine.
But the problem is the TV show possibly in the presidency. Like the TV show was a very successful TV show, so people think of that as successful, and then too many buildings with his name on it. I don't know. I feel like I don't, and also I don't know. Like I don't know what the news is anymore. I don't know if the guy is successful or not successful. I know he's not Zuckerberg. He's something, right? I mean, he's not what he claims he is.
As I mentioned, I read the whole article. This is something I learned. I didn't know this. He's the minority owner in a lot of those buildings. Like he owns 30%. Right?
I still wish my dad did whatever he did financially. That's basically what I'm saying. Maybe the bar is too low for me. Maybe I'm coming from North Hollywood poor.
That's
but
fair.
Yes. So it's interesting. Unsuccessful versus successful. And then
he's made hundreds of millions of dollars, no doubt. But if his net worth, that's a philosophical question, I guess. If your net worth is underwater, are you successful?
Well, I guess if you die before having to pay everyone back.
Yeah, that's right. You got out.
If your main mode of transportation when you're destitute is a helicopter, then I guess you've gained the system at that point, right? Like maybe you fucking cheated the system, and maybe it's a weird thing. It's like when Mike Tyson would be bankrupt, but he would still own tigers and stay in a penthouse. Then what does that mean then?
Well, Michael Jackson.
Or Michael Jackson. It's like, he's bankrupt. He's bought another urn on a shopping spree.
He has a 10,000-acre house.
He put in another roller coaster.
He's going on shopping sprees and buying antiquities. But he's broke. Yeah, I don't know how that works. All right, anyway. What do we got?
Well, it's time to honor someone or something, depending on how you look at it, who's been very, very helpful. One small little mammal is responsible for helping clear undetonated landmines out of more than 35 acres of land in Cambodia. And he's now been awarded a medal commemorating the achievement. Everybody meet Magawa, giant African.
He's still alive?
Yes. Look at that little sweetie pie. Was awarded a civilian award for animal bravery by the People's Dispensary for Sick Animals on September 25th. It's the charity's highest civilian honor, and according to the AP, is equivalent to the George Cross, which is an award to British civilians or soldiers who perform acts of greatness or heroism. He's wearing his little medal. In the past 5 years, Magawa has found 39 landmines and 28 items of unexploded ordnance, clearing more than 141,000 square meters of land and making the area safe for local communities. His official job is Hero Rat. And a Belgian organization trains rats to find landmines. It's estimated that 4 to 6 million landmines were laid in Cambodia since the 1970s, with at least 3 million still unaccounted for. He sniffs them out, and he's so light, he doesn't detonate them.
Is that a rat? He looked big for a rat.
It's a giant African pouched rat. That's what it's called.
Yeah, fucked up animals.
Like a nutria.
Yeah. Wow. Good. I like all this shit. You know me. Get the dogs sniffing out the venereal diseases. Get the rats finding the landmines. I thought Lady Di cleared all those landmines back in the 90s, but that could have...
She made a dent.
That could have just been a photo op. I don't know. I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but I thought she did. That was basically what she did. All right, good.
Because the rat's body weight doesn't trigger the mines, is that why they're good at it?
I think so, because they, like a dog would be too heavy, but rats can sniff out really well, and they're compact.
Yeah, and you want that. You don't want a mine going off every time a bird lands. That's not good killing. You know what I mean? They have to have the right weight. It's kind of interesting. I talked to Dan Crenshaw, who obviously had the mine go off and blew up, and that's how he lost his eye.
Right.
And that whole mine world is weird and scary and dicey, like how some are activated, some are people watching it, some are like triggered, some they pick them up and move them. Some of them, they go off on batteries, so it's like the battery will wear out. Not these mines, but like the more modern ones, the improvised ones that are in some of the conflicts we've been in over the last few years. They'll go out and take the batteries out during the downtime. And then when the helicopters are coming in, they'll go run out and plug them back in. It's like, ugh, yuck, mines.
Was his job to clear mines, or it was just one just went off?
No, he was a Navy SEAL. His guys landed. They would be mindful, pardon the pun, of like when the best time to travel and walk the roads and stuff were. Like if you're going to walk a road, you just go in a straight line, one behind each other. Not good if you're ambushed, but good for not stepping on mines. And his translator, who was a couple of feet in front of him, stepped on the mine, I think he lost all 4 of his limbs and then died. And meanwhile, Dan got hit with a bunch of shrapnel sort of just behind the guy.
Adam, that's all well and good, but I'd like to remind you, because it seems like you've forgotten, that there are people at the Ellen DeGeneres show who were talked down to.
That was a toxic environment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of
so it's kind of a 1-to-1 comparison.
Lot of sandwiches, not a lot of hot meals. Only hot meals for Friday. Yeah, I know. It's tough. It was a toxic environment, toxic work environment. Yeah, go walk around with the Navy SEALs and look out for mines and snipers.
Was somebody on the Ellen DeGeneres show comparing themselves to what Dan Crenshaw went to?
No, that was me.
Were.
That was me doing it.
You were.
No, I was just saying everyone who's like, we have this thing where it's like a toxic work environment. And I was like, you get free food and air conditioning. Go back historically. Toxic work environments were actually toxic. There was like fumes. There was lead. You know what I mean? Like I've been on a few sets, and I like people to be in a good mood. But let's look. Look. Nobody made fun of Ellen more than me. I'm the last guy to defend Ellen. I'm just saying, you go to a place, the food is free, you got air conditioning, and if you don't like it, you can get another job. That's the way I look at it. And by the way, it's Hollywood and production. It's like they're in a little bit of a hurry, and people don't always mind their P's and Q's. But
do you remember the movie Swimming with Sharks with Kevin Spacey and Frank Whaley from the 90s? Mm-hmm. Fantastic movie, and just about the abusive nature of working for an agent and stuff. Like, this is so commonplace. They've made movies about like, oh yeah, of course, but it just that shit don't fly anymore.
No, I'm glad. I don't want to work like that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody does, but it's so funny that it just was.
I mean, it's how I treat my staff. Don't get me wrong.
Of course, yeah.
I'm just saying, given the choice between stepping on a landmine in Tikrit or working for Ellen, that's what I'm saying. It's a binary thing.
Those are your only two options.
Those are your only two options.
Right. I suspect, and I don't know, I suspect even the disgruntled people on Ellen's staff would also choose working for Ellen over going to Tikrit.
I agree. I suspect. You may be right, or at least 70%.
Majority, the clear majority.
Clear majority. What are you looking at, Gina? What do you got? I didn't even know what we were talking about.
Did everyone hear that, or was it just me?
No, I think it was just you.
Oh, okay. So a significant change coming up on The Simpsons, which I believe just aired, if I'm thinking of if this is the right week I pulled here. The role of Carlson on The Simpsons has officially been recast for season 32. It had always been Hank Azaria, who played him for almost 31 years. Now it's Alex Desire, who you'll know
from Swingers.
Swingers and Becker.
I think he was in PCU.
Everything. Yes, he was. I mean, you absolutely know the face.
You guys are going back 20 years.
Aired Sunday. Yeah. Also, High Fidelity, the show Better Things. He's taking over. The change comes as The Simpsons joins several animated shows like Big Mouth, Family Guy, and Central Park in recasting white actors who were previously voicing black characters. Azaria also, he plays everybody. Wiggum, the comic book guy, Professor Frank, Mo Sizlak, but he's not doing Carl. We know he's not doing Apu from the documentary that came out, The Problem with Apu, which kind of created this sea change. Azaria eventually relented and agreed to no longer voice Apu after that. And they now have added a new cast member.
They must have just aired it because I think
Sunday night.
The new Family Guy was on Sunday night. So they must have coincided with that. God, that's a lot of product. All right. Next has to be, what's his name from Bob's Burgers?
I was going to say 75% of the Bob's Burger cast.
They're doing women's voices.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
Bad optics. Bad look. Yeah.
The mom, Linda.
It all started with Kids in the Hall.
Yeah, Eugene Merriman. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. If you can't do black people, then should be able to hop around from a gender standpoint.
Eugene's good. Eugene plays the son.
Eugene basically plays himself.
Yeah, he gets to stay.
Eugene's fine. All right, let me hit.
That's one of my favorite. Can I just tell you?
Oh, yeah, Bart Simpson.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Of course.
I brought that up in this very show.
That's right. Sorry.
My favorite Eugene Merriman joke. I listen to a lot of comedy. He was talking about how he had an audition for something he had to wear period clothing. He said, but it was a last minute audition, something from the turn of the last century. I didn't have any period clothing. So to the audition, I just wore a suit and a sign around my neck that said Irish need not apply.
Dan Mintz. That's who plays
Dan
Tina.
Mintz.
All right, let's do one more, Gina Grad.
Oh, I was hoping you'd say that because we have some hot Gwyneth Paltrow naked news. She went to Instagram on Sunday to announce that it was her birthday and to do a little light peddling for her Goop empire. And here's how she did it. We have a picture of 48-year-old actress posed naked next to a tree with the caption, let's see, in nothing but my birthday suit. Thank you all so much for the birthday wishes. And thank you to Goop's insanely amazing brand new body butter for making me think I can still get my kit off. Hashtag Goop jeans. And that's how she celebrated her birthday this year.
What's your
More power
kit?
to her.
How do you get your kit off?
I don't know what that means.
Does anyone know what getting your kit off?
I can still get my kit off.
Is that a British thing?
Is that what she's doing?
I'm guessing.
Like take your clothes off?
I
guess.
take your British at some point.
I've shed my caboodle, but I don't know if that's related.
Michael, God bless you. Get one's kit off, and it's a term from the UK to remove one's clothes. Take off all your clothes.
Got it.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Michael.
This just goes back to the beginning of the interview when you said I seem like I'm educated.
Yeah.
It all goes full circle.
Real thanks needs to go to Chris Martin, though, because he's probably told her to get her kid off quite a few times before that.
She looks great.
She looks great. Now, do we like it? Is it cheating? Are you stealing? Is it like, do you guys feel that way with like Chelsea Handler, that she's constantly like going, I'm going nude to talk about something? Is it a worthy cause, or are you just kind of drawing focus?
I mean, didn't the Kardashians kick this door down so hard that we really can't judge anyone for taking their clothes off and selling a product?
Yeah, I was going to say, when it was, for PETA, that's one thing, but for Goop.
But don't we expect this out of the Kardashians, but set a slightly higher bar for others?
Well, this isn't the first time she's done it.
Red Eagle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty
Swipe
tasteful.
left.
It's real tasteful.
No, I just mean like, I don't know. What do you guys, to me, it feels like narcissistic. Like, A, I look good naked, so I'm getting naked. And then B,
self-promotion.
I'm just going to draw some eyeballs. And then B, it's like, it's interesting. Look, I'm just jealous because it's like, Adam, take your shirt off and we get 100 million clicks. Like, yeah, we don't have that ability. You know what I mean? We have to, whatever, we'll live and die on whatever the words are. But I mean, and maybe I'm jealous, but I don't know. Do we like her or don't we like her? Do you know her, Michael?
She seems genuine.
Hard to say. Michael, what do you think?
The only time I've been in her presence was years ago in New York City when she was dating Brad Pitt, and she was just kind of becoming a huge star. And I remember my friend kind of knew her and had a crush on her. And then she shows up with Brad Pitt, and he's like, "Oh, I see. Right. This isn't going to happen. This is not going to happen at all." I don't really have an opinion on her. Particularly, I will say that we have one of her cookbooks in my house, and it is excellent.
I will say my wife has several Goop products, and they're all pretty great.
She does not.
She has the little sunscreen stick that it's almost like chapstick. You twist it and rub it on. And we're at the beach one day. I forgot, sunblock. I'm like, let me borrow that. Rubbed it on my head, my face. I'm like, it feels very, very light and sheer.
I started steaming my vagina after she recommended doing it, and it's made a world of difference. I have to say.
Try that.
Tighter, more supple.
Oh, I'm so supple and firm, which I wasn't expecting. It firmed me up. Kegels were great, but the steaming really firmed me up.
I think my grandfather steamed his vagina back in the day when he was cooking for my grandmother constantly. Yeah, I'm in general with the Gwyneths of the world. Like, I probably wouldn't want to have long conversations with them and they especially wouldn't want to have a long conversation with me. So it's a two-way street. But you have employees, you're paying taxes. God bless you. You're not part of the problem. I'm going to be definitely consistent. Anyone who creates things, provides work for other people, pays into the system, God bless you. All right. Should we bring it home, Gina Grad?
Let's do it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina Grad. That was the news with Gina Grad.